What's going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of the Pursuit of Calling podcast. Welcome, pursuers. So you already know from looking at the title of this episode that this is a revisit of living with pain and accomplishing goals. That was recorded last March, which is crazy to think. March of 2024, which is over a year ago, and I had to re-listen. I re-listened to that episode because recently, because I decided I wanted to go back over what I talked about, and man, the fire that was in my voice, like that fire that was there to want to share the things that I've learned on this journey of pain and suffering. Like, I think back to that, and like part of me is like, man, where'd that go? I'm thinking about the last couple episodes I put out, and I'm wondering if maybe I lost focus in sort of way of why I'm doing this podcast. So I wanted to revisit an episode where I was the happiest. I remember being the happiest. I could hear it in my voice. I'm sure you could too if you went back and listened to the episode, which I highly encourage you to do. You hear it in my voice, how happy and how excited and comfortable I was to share my journey of pain and growth. So I'm going to go back over these lessons today because they're still true today. And those lessons are understanding your own limits. Your physical and mental health are strongly linked. Patience isn't only a virtue. Is it? Oh, wow. Okay, let me read through that. The lessons are understanding your own limits. Your physical and mental health are strongly linked. And patience isn't only a virtue, it's a necessity. That one's huge. I remember in the last episode, the last time I recorded this, how when I was writing the notes, how excited and how like it just clicked that was one of the biggest lessons. And even as I was listening to this and reading the notes from this episode, I was teaching myself again. March of 2024, Thomas was teaching this current present Thomas, about being present, and that patience is only a virtue, that it's a necessity. So I can't wait to go over that with you guys as well. So let's dive into the first lesson. The first thing I learned: understanding your own limits. And I don't know if I said it already, so I'm going to say it now. There's no shame in asking for help. The most worthwhile things are done with others. Now, you might be wondering, maybe you're wondering how this has to do with calling. I think this maybe it's obvious, but your calling is, I've said it before, your calling isn't just for you, it's for everybody around you. And also that whenever you're pursuing something, your calling isn't small. And in order to accomplish something large, in order to accomplish something big, you can't do it by yourself. The most worthwhile things are done with others. So there's multiple areas in life where your limits might be. It could be your time, you have knowledge and wisdom gaps. Maybe you have it could be physical and maybe even financial. Say with your time, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but somehow there are people out there that seem to get so much more done than us. And some of that can be tied into really good like time management skills. And they're able to do that, somehow not get overwhelmed. And they're also able to then, like I said earlier, they also have other people in their corner. But you'll see that these people, they understand that they themselves have the limit of 24 hours, but then they can also bring other people in, whether they hire these people or they have volunteers with them that are helping them out. Like how I have Ian, hi Ian, helping me edit these podcasts. I'm not just utilizing my 24 hours. I'm also able to ask for the help of others who can then utilize their time to help me get other things done. I have limits. Everybody has limits. And everybody has the same 24 hours. So then maybe you have knowledge and wisdom gaps. You don't know, you don't know what you don't know, but a lot of the time when you know who does. You probably have mentors in your life, some men or women, friends who you look up to, people that you've learned some things from before. I've learned a lot by just seeking out mentors and asking them questions. There's been many times when during our conversations they teach me something that I wasn't expecting. Like one thing, I don't know if you remember. I don't I like last episode. Last time I recorded this, I recorded this, I listed off all my mentors that I had at the time: Mike Wallace, Ed Newell, Patrick Williams, Jesse Leachy, Jim Fink, Terry Bachner, and there are others. However, I remember this one time with Ed Newell, whenever he was on the episode, when he was on the episode of The Pursuit of Calling, we were talking about finances, and we got into the topic of what can you do right now to maybe increase your income. And one of the easiest things he told me was, and this is a great example of something that I highly encourage you to do. One of the things that he told me and told you guys, the audience, was get a high yield savings account. Simple. High yield savings account. It was at 5% at the time with Wealthfront. And I honestly did it either the next day or that week. And I've had it since. And I've made like almost $800 just by letting my money sit. And that was something I wasn't expecting to learn from that. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to learn that. But I was like, but that's why I love having these people that are also in my life that are filled with growth, that are looking to improve, have these hobbies that like Ed with financial hobbies, like being able to then learn new things and give that knowledge to others and have that heart to be able to do that. Like, that was great. I want you to find people like that. Each person has taught me something different. Like I said, like whether that be faith or financial, it could be with financial discipline, maybe some mental fortitude. Like I talked to you about when I almost lost $4,000. I needed some mental fortitude, and at the time, Patrick Williams helped me figure that out, or anything else in between. Maybe let's keep moving. Maybe there's some physical limits. Now, this is where where I shine. I have some physical limits. Um, you know, I have a condition called muscular dystonia. I have that it limits and gives me pain every single day. If you're new here, well, there you go. I have a condition called muscular dystonia. It's a neurological condition. My muscles kind of contract. My muscles contract. I get pain in my arms, which is why I have these gloves on. If you're watching the video, and pain in my arms, up into my neck, and sometimes my jaw, my face, and that sucks. I think if I didn't have the faith that I have, and the people that God has surrounded me with, I would be like, man, I've been dealt a crap hand. But really, what this has allowed me to do through my own physical limits, it's caused me to rely on others and realize how much I can rely on others and trust others in my life more than I ever had to do before. Now, one great example of that, I've said it before, I'm gonna bring it up again because I love David. I asked David, for those who don't know, I have a friend named David. There was a time when I asked him whether I talked to him about production before. I talked to him about production. I talked to him about how I talked about joining the team at our church. And I know I'm talking fast. I'm going to slow down a little bit. And he showed some interest, right? So there was a day when my pain was getting high and I didn't know what my limits were, if I should be doing computer work, if I shouldn't be doing it on the weekend. So I reached out to him like Saturday, and church was on Sunday morning, as it be. And I asked him, like, hey man, I got this, I have this condition, this is what's going on, can you help me out tomorrow? He said yes, because he has a servant heart, and he's been serving on production ever since. And now and we're good friends. So it's like, as a result, like, God used what like the enemy meant for evil and turned it for good. Man, I say so many times that this isn't a Christian podcast, but I can't help it sometimes. Like, um, I've also been thinking about this random tangent, but thinking about putting God back into the title, back into the intro, because that's kind of, he's kind of the foundation of my life. But anyway, um, but also though, like, I have the physical limits limit my driving. Like, I'm up almost right after I'm done recording this, I'm going to a cookout that I can't get to by myself, but I have a great friend named Zach Thomas who wasn't around whenever I recorded this last time, so I get to shout out Zach, and I hope you're listening to the episode, Zach. And but he's giving me a ride. He's giving me, I think, like, within the last couple of weeks, he's given me at least three rides at three different places, and like, I couldn't ask for better friends, guys. Like, I wouldn't be if I didn't have. Man, I'm getting emotional. If I didn't have if I thought I had to do everything myself, still in the condition that I have, I'd be miserable. I'd never see anybody. I just have to invite people here and to my home, and I would have to, like, I would only be able to go grocery shopping by my grocery shopping. And I would never push my limits. Like, and I don't, guys. You need people, and even if you don't have a physical condition like I do, right? Like, like, there are going to be times when your limits, when you hit your ceiling, you hit your limit, and you can either lie down and take it, or you can stand up and stand up and reach out, pick up the phone, and reach out to those who are already in your corner. Man, think about that. Who's already in your corner? Who's already fighting for you? I'm going off, and this is what I was hoping was going to happen this episode. I didn't want to just do word for word for that from the last recording, but guys, who's already in your corner? Who can help you, especially like with everything I've mentioned so far, and especially when you're pursuing your calling? Who are your advocates? Who are the people that are going to tell you when you're messing up, but also push you and help you network and point you in the direction of people that you can know on this pursuit of calling? Who do you know? Okay, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move into the next section of financial limits. So asking for help financially is probably the hardest one. I don't know. It is for me anyway. Now this can be to ask for work to help others to get pay in return. But okay, sorry, I messed that up. Might have to cut that a little bit. But but yeah, financial limits could be like maybe you start asking people, asking for help financially is one of the hardest ones. Oh my gosh, sorry, Ian, but I don't know what I meant there. Okay, let me just start over this financial section, or I don't know. But okay, maybe you have financial limits, right? Maybe you have financial limits, and most of us do. Most people have financial limits, and maybe you're like me. I'm going on a missions trip in January, and I'm going to ask for donations because I have some financial limits, because I have financial goals. I want to go. I want to buy a house in a year, and so I'm going to figure out how I can raise the money to be able to go to Uganda for free. Minus the down payment, but it's fine. But but the thing I want to say about that is, since I've been doing FPU recently, a lot of people have financial limits, and I know that. And FPU, Financial Peace University, I've been co-coordinating the course with one of those courses with Amplified Church, and oh man, and the one thing I've noticed is sometimes people have limits and they don't even realize they do. I think that's a great thing to call out in people. Is for me as a coordinator of these courses, is I want to and as somebody who has studied this side of finances and how to manage them, how to pay them off, how to pay off debt, how to build wealth at a build wealth at a maintainable rate of return. You have limits. I'm going to say that directly to you. You have limits that are financial, and whether you know it or not. If you're in credit card debt, if you're in any sort of debt, really, like that strongly limits your potential, your financial potential. So just think about that. And also, like, if you're there's somewhere that you like, how also though, like, how can you raise that limit? Think about how can, like, financial your financial limitations, like, that's one of the other ones that you have power to change. So, like, maybe you can get more work and get paid for that. Maybe you ask for a promotion, or you just do better, or you continuously do better at your job so that you get a promotion. Maybe you go to get a new job that'll pay you more. How do you, like, you can't, that ceiling can, get higher, but it can also get lower. So, you gotta do what you gotta do whenever you're in those certain stages of life. Okay, that was one lesson. So I need to move on. I'm gonna say your physical and mental health are strongly linked. Is the next lesson, and and I wrote in my notes. There's a lot of people out there that, they say, like, especially at the gym, there's guys that are like, my body is a temple, and you get those guys kind of, annoy some people. But funny thing is that it's true. As a Christian, I believe that my body, and I believe that every Christian's body, is a temple for the Holy Spirit. So I want to treat it the best way that I can. I am constantly learning about what my body does and doesn't like. And, like, recently I've been using, I have it on right now. It's called a Whoop armband, and it's a health tracker. It shows me how much strain, like how much activity I've had in the day, and it tells me how much strain I should have in the day based on the metrics that it tells me. And, you can keep a journal, and keep a journal of every pretty much all these different things that you do in your day. Like, what activities you've done when you woke up, when you went to bed, when did you intermittent fasting? Did you go to, like, when did you eat? Did you snack? And all of these different things. And it tells you, like, and it eventually gives you these metrics. It tells you whether you're doing, like, what is good for your recovery and what isn't, what's good for your health and what's not. And that's really kind of helped me understand that a little bit better. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I noticed that whenever my recovery, that's what they say and call it in Whoop, when my recovery is low, I don't, like, my mental fortitude is lacking. As a developer, I'm that my job is to use my brain and to problem solve. And I've noticed for a while that whenever I'm tired, whenever I haven't treated my body well the day before, it's a lot harder for me to problem solve. Whenever my body doesn't feel well, my brain doesn't work as well. That makes sense? When you'll be able to function better mentally and physically if you eat the right foods, if you work out, if you work out in the right way, work out in the right ways that's right for you. If you just treat this gift that you've been given of this body well. I think I made the example last time with food about putting, like, you want to eat the right foods. You want to you want your fuel that you put in your body to be good. And you're not gonna eat, like, if you're truly you truly care about your own health, you don't go out and eat fast food, right? If you truly care about your health, you don't go out you don't go out to eat all the time, because that's also financial health, but physical health, because there aren't great ingredients all the time in food that you eat out whenever you eat out. And, like, I think I made the example of, you want to put chocolate syrup in your gas tank because your car won't run. You want the right fuel that will fuel your body to run at its optimal capacity, because then your mind will work well as well. Your brain uses that same fuel. All right. Last lesson. Patience isn't only a virtue, it's a necessity. So waiting is a huge part of life. I've had doctor's appointments months in between, where, and actually have a couple coming up after like 6 months, because that's just what they do now. And it sucks. It sucks. Like, it doesn't really feel like those give me anything anymore. but I still go to them because maybe they will. Because like every now and then they give me something, but most of the time, like I say, like it's like 50-50. And these doctor's appointments are like months and months and months apart, and it's hard, and it's but also realizing that like it's not just patience in the doctor's appointments. It's also patience in things for you, like diet. Maybe with diet, maybe like you went on a diet for a week and you're wondering why you haven't lost as much weight as you wanted yet. Like it's going to take time. Working out, same thing. It's going to take you multiple times to go to the gym to build the muscle that you want to build. Learning something new, you're not going to understand it the first time. You might not even understand it the second time. Maybe you got to read that book 3 times to really understand what the author is saying, and take note. And you got to take notes. Like it's going to take time for you to understand something new. And now, finally, pursuing your calling takes time, and it's a continuous season of your life. Pursuing your calling, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience. And now this is the biggest thing that I remember I said in the beginning of this recording that I was going to need to talk about more, because it's something I need to hear. It's something I need to say, because I feel like I've forgotten that patience. That patience is not a virtue, but it's a necessity. Life is a waiting game. We're always waiting for something, and right now I'm waiting to learn, and waiting to learn learn and waiting for clients to come in for my coaching business. I'm waiting to find the people that I'm meant to serve, that I'm called to serve. So maybe if you're in the same boat as me, maybe that you're waiting for people to serve. You don't know who to serve, and you don't know what you're doing in your life. It takes time. If you don't know what your calling is, pray, ask God, take time with Him. If you're not a Christian, I would still encourage you to do that. I would still encourage you to do that, but also for both of you, for both Christians and non-Christians, go ahead and I have a Discover Your Calling planning guide. It just asks some simple questions about like what do you enjoy doing? What are the things? What can you? What do you? What? Sorry. What are the things that you do that seem to make time fly? Like things that you love so much that it doesn't really like you don't even notice that you've done it for 2-3 hours. The last thing I have here is when things are at their hardest is when you need to buckle down, grit your teeth, and hold on, even if there's nothing to do but wait. And this waiting is when you can and should be readying yourself for what comes next. Waiting doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're preparing, and that's what I needed to hear. These are notes from like the last time I recorded this episode. Waiting doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're preparing. You're preparing for whatever God has for you next. You're preparing for that doctor's appointment. You're preparing for that next big break, for that raise, for that promotion. You're preparing maybe for your future wife or your future husband. You're preparing everything, and that's why it takes time. Preparation doesn't happen in an instant. There is no such thing as overnight success. It's all about what we're doing behind closed doors by ourselves. How are we buckling down, gritting our teeth, and pushing forward? And now I know that I just said do it by yourself, but you're like, Thomas, you just said you just talked about in the beginning, like how like you need people and all of these things. You just talked about it so much. Why did you say do things by yourself? Because like why would I say that? Why would I say why would I say that? Why would I say do things by yourself? Sorry, I know I'm repeating myself. Because what you do behind closed doors will produce the fruit of what happens outside of them. I'm gonna say that again. What you're doing behind closed doors produces the fruit of what happens outside of those doors. So what you do if you're not around people is going to help you produce even better fruit with the people that you're living life with and pursuing your calling alongside of. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I know this was a lot. This was a longer episode, and maybe I'll do a few more episodes to break each piece of this down a little bit more and go into some different detail. Let me know if that'd be worth it. and let me know if that would be worth it. Let me know what you'd be interested in hearing on an episode of the Pursuit of Calling podcast. Maybe you want me to dive into something. Maybe you want me to dive into something I talked about a little bit in a little bit more detail specifically. That'd be great to know because it helps me like figure out what my listeners want to hear. Like I would love to be able to serve you in that way. So go ahead and post that in the comments on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, a 5-star on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, maybe a thumbs up on YouTube. Smash that like button. Oh, that was cringy. But and guys, don't forget to share on social media. And go on, keep pursuing your calling. I'll see you next time.